top 10 hurlers in the country at the moment. We'll just get your comments in. Let us know, who do you think? And it's right now. So you might think that Tony Kelly's the best player in the country, but at the moment he's not featuring. And there's other lads, I mean, who else could you say at the moment isn't featuring? TJ Reid.
Reid. Yeah, a hell of a lot of Limerick lads as well. Like, there's only been, I think they only had 6 starters from the All-Ireland featuring last weekend. So like a lot of those guys are out of the mix, and by all accounts, like, they haven't. It's probably maybe some unheralded Limerick players that have ripped it up in the league so far. So there's a lot of boys getting their knickers in a twist at the minute, and I can see them in the comments. This is who's excelled. It's probably basically since the turn of the year. I'd say we take in the latter stages of the club championships, as in the Club All-Ireland, and some early season games, and then 2 games in the league. So anyone expecting TJ Reid to be number 1, Tony Kelly to be number 2, Keane Lynch to be number 3, that is not what we're looking at the minute.
Yeah, and I was just asking one of the Westmeath lads who's with UCD about the match the other day, and against Limerick, because they went so well, and they competed really, really well. And he said Hegarty came on, and he was just really, really good. So that's why he's in the image just here. I'm not saying that he's necessarily in the top 10, but that's why he's kind of just on that image there. Who'd be the first player that comes to mind for you?
There'll probably be a couple. Mark Rogers would definitely be one. Garrod O'Connor would definitely be another. And Donnacha O'Donnell from Limerick, who scored 111 from playing their 2 league games so far. So that would be 3 off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay. Let's see the comment in from John Kwan here. Garrod O'Connor 1, Hugh Lawler 2, Mark Rogers 3. Yeah, I'd be happy definitely to include some of the form with the club. Who else does that bring in then? Because and we'll be picking a club team of the year as well. But does that bring in, who from Galway does that bring in? Like, Conor Cooney was very good there towards the end.
It would probably bring in David Burke maybe as well, if that's kind of what you're basing on. I think you're kind of basing that on one game in 2024. He hasn't played any county. I kind of more probably looking at a couple of lads that would have played the club final and come back and played a bit of league, like would say Hugh Lawler, who was good in the club final obviously, and was good in the semi-final, but was good on Patrick Horgan the other night. Did a right kind of duel the other night. So I would definitely have him high in the mix. A couple of other names that came to mind. Adrian Mullen has been brilliant so far in the league. Scored 5 from play the other night. Tommy O'Connell from Cork would definitely be well in the mix. David Blanchfield from Kilkenny, I thought he was brilliant again the other night. He's so cool on the ball, Shane. Jesus, he's so cool. He just puts up that left hand and controls the ball anywhere, takes it down, and just usually walks out with it. A big time for him now.
And then, like, who's impressing you in the Fitzgibbon Cup this year that's also playing with the county?
A couple of guys I would have mentioned already. Garrod O'Connor, Mark Rogers. They'd be the main 2. Fergal O'Connor. Shane O'Brien has had brilliant form so far this year. Shane Meehan, obviously, last night. Darragh Lone would be another. Mark Fitzgerald will be in the conversation as well, actually, because he's mixing the 2 at the minute, and he's flying. They'd be just a couple of them anyway. And I think you have to go with what's in vogue at this moment in time, and the players that you've seen a lot of. Like, it'd be a testament to some of these lads if they're still in this conversation, at the end of the league or at the end of the provincial championships. I'd say there'd be a fair turnover of guys by the time we get to that, because first line players will have come back in. But I think pick what we think are the best 10 and the most informed 10 at the minute.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, with Limerick being so changed at the moment, it's going to be hard to pick too many lads. I know you said Donnacha O'Donnell there already. And it's funny, you would have seen different games to what I would have seen up to this point. Like Adam English I know he got a red card last night, but he's been playing quite well. Shane O'Brien, who didn't play against Westmeath, he got 1-5 the first day out against Antrim. Hegarty scored 3 that day, came on and turned the game, against Westmeath. So you could make a bit of a shout for him also.
I think I'd be more going for lads that are jumping out of their skin at the minute. You know what I mean? I think you might have been muted there, Shane, for a second.
Sorry, Tommy O'Connell would certainly be one for me then.
Oh, Tommy's well up the conversation, I would say. Do you want to start with our top 3 and then work our way down? We've no shortage of choice, in fairness.
And this could be totally ripped up midway through.
Yeah, well, I'd probably have Gerard O'Connor number one, Shane, realistically, because he scored 100% what he got last night. We definitely had 4 got by half time, but he'd scored 133 between one Fitzgibbon game and 2 league games, and he'd got 2 man of the matches thrown in there in the middle of it as well. So
Okay, so Gerard O'Connor number one.
No issue with having him right up there.
Yeah. What about would Tommy O'Connell be high enough to be in at number 2?
What
about Paddy Burke of Antrim? And also scored at Cushendall.
Yeah, he was good, obviously. He was good the other day, was he, against Dublin?
Yeah. I think he has to be right up there.
I didn't see enough of that game. Do you know, you go strong on kind of what you've seen, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely in the equation. I don't know if he's at that top end. I would have Hugh Lawler right up near the top now.
Okay. Yeah, and I'd be happy to have him up there because he has been brilliant. Are you talking about number 2 territory? Has he done more? I would say Tommy O'Connell, given the team and the performances that he's, playing amidst, I'd probably have him a little bit higher. And also, he's trying to establish himself.
Yeah, I'd have Mark Rogers right in that top 5 as well, without a doubt. Yeah. I'd say something like top 4, something like Gerard O'Connor, Tommy O'Connell, Mark Rogers, Hugh Lawler.
Yeah, what about Paddy Burke though?
Again, you're batting for him. I haven't seen it. I saw him in the All-Ireland Club semi-final and he was brilliant. I saw a few pieces of that game the other day. So I'm not going to... I go to bat for him normally, but I can't 100% go to bat for him at the minute.
Okay, I'm going to go Tommy O'Connell, Cork. And I haven't seen too much of Clare just yet so far this year. So Rogers has been ripping it up there as well, as far as you're concerned.
Rogers has been ripping it up there, and he turned the game on its head last night, realistically. And he only needs... He's flying. He was mad. What did he get? 13 for Clare the first day out against Cork. Yeah, no, I'd have him right up there.
Okay, and we were saying then Hugh Lawler. Now, this could change in a few moments, folks, as we go through more names. What about Brian Hayes of Dublin?
Well, I definitely would have Adrian Mullen in that conversation there, that high as well. Are you telling me you're going to put Paddy Burke ahead of Adrian Mullen?
No. I'm just putting in the names for now, and then we can rejig as we go. I'm going to put in Brian Hayes as well because he really has been impressive for a Dublin team that has not been overly impressive in their first couple of games.
I'd have Killian Kiley in the top 10 as well, and I would definitely have Shane O'Brien from Limerick in there too.
Keelan Kiley, surely, the way he pronounces it.
But he spells it Killian, so that'll do for me.
Well, I spoke to him and I asked him, and he said it's Keelan.
I'm going to pronounce it Killian.
Right, okay, you're sticking to one. Really took the class.
It is Keelan, to be fair. It is Keelan. Yeah. I think he dislocated his finger the other day. He was off for 3 minutes and came back on, and he was brilliant. And in terrible conditions, he was outstanding.
So he'd be your number 1 in terms of an off-league guy to go into this list?
He would. Killian Sampson wouldn't be a million miles off. He didn't start last night, but he had a massive play at the end. In terms of other off-league lads, yeah, no, he'd be number 1. He'd be number 1 at this moment in time, yeah.
Okay, a few people saying, one person saying Paddy Levy and another person saying not Paddy Levy. Crater is saying Sean Rinn, very good newcomer in his first couple of games for Clare.
Yeah, they've been good. Any bits I've seen in them have been good. I would have Mark Fitzgerald in the conversation too. He was centre back for UL last night. He's been brilliant for Waterford as well. Another one of those players that's very busy. Connor Foley from Wexford was man of the match with 3 points against Kilkenny in the league. Who else? David Blanchfield I would have in around there. Conor Whelan's probably not totally ripping it up at the minute, but he was still good the other day. And I would have Ronan Matter in around the conversation as well, but probably outside the 10.
Yeah, I thought Breen was very good for Tip the other day, even though so was Whelan. But Whelan looked in ominous form, and I thought Breen kept into him quite well. Yeah, I'm just looking at the first couple of rounds of games, and like Group A in Division 1. So Offaly were beaten heavily enough by Waterford that day, 320-17. Clare beat Cork 125-219. Kilkenny, they drew Wexford that day. All in Division 1B, then you had Limerick beating Antrim 136-19. So that was an awful hammering. You also had Dublin losing heavily to Tipperary 227-22, and Galway pasted Westmeath by 31 points. More recently then, Cork drawn with Kilkenny Anyone like other than Adrian Mullen there? Do you know what? I thought Owen Downey was quite good in that game. Like he's a player that's impressing me.
Yeah, he's doing well. I would have said as well, someone mentioned Jack O'Connor there from Wexford. Before the league started, I would have had him well up in this. He was outstanding throughout the Walsh Cup. I'd probably say Lee Chin the same. Chin was good the other night, but probably hasn't had the impact from play that he would like. So I wouldn't have him in that conversation at the minute. And it's funny, a lot of the names we're mentioning here are lads that are really trying to stake a claim, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? You don't expect, I'm saying Conor Whelan is close to the 10, and he is, but you don't expect him to be flying at this moment of time. Do you know what I mean? Like the time he wants to be flying is, May, June, and July, realistically. Whereas, and probably Adrian Mullen the same, but it's just circumstances maybe mean that he's kind of, flying a bit, or how much space Cork gave him the other night maybe allowed him to fly a bit more than he would normally would. Same with Ronan Matter as well. They play him very well at this time of the year, but he, really he's focusing on being 100% fit and peaking in April and May, and hopefully for yourself into June and July as well.
Shane Murphy was very good for Kilkenny at the weekend.
I thought he was brilliant. Yeah, he was outstanding, wasn't he? Brilliant, very good. He's been around the panel a couple of years now, and Alan is obviously not involved anymore with the Kilkenny panel, but Shane slotted in there really, really well, and that was kind of a late change that was made before throwing, and he looked at home, I have to say.
Yeah, Darla Han. Hello, lads. As an optimistic Cork man, we haven't a hope this year.
Any relation to Connor, I wonder?
Mm-hmm.
Hardly. Yeah.
Well, Crater is saying meant Shane Murphy. Yeah. So, are we slotting him in on the basis of one performance? John Quan says Conal Cunning, who, I was thinking the other day, did he score 1-4 against Dublin? I think it was something like that.
Yeah, very quiet the first day out against Limerick, though.
Yeah,
and say like the same with Paddy Burke, Shane. I think Paddy Burke's a brilliant player, but he was part of a defence that conceded 136 first day out.
Yeah, but he was brilliant for Cushendall as well.
Yeah, that's more kind of before Christmas, though. Do you know what I mean?
Eating bread is soon forgotten.
You always say, "What's he done for me recently?"
Yeah, but you said you were including some of the club stuff recently.
Yeah, no, club final would have been what I would have been saying, because it's only a month ago.
Right, okay. John Crawford says, Breen, very like Seamus Hickey or Sean O'Donoghue, can do a job in the back, but best position is half forward. Will do a job like Sheedy and Mick Ryan, 2 All-Ireland 16 and 19, very similar to Hickey in 13. I couldn't disagree more. I think he's an unbelievable defender, and while he did well for Tipperary up the field, he was always out of position, in my opinion.
I kind of never looked at him as a natural ball winner, which you kind of have to be if you're playing half forward. When he was on the ball, he was brilliant. But the hardest, you've played in the half forward as well, the hardest thing is to get your hands on the ball. The easy part is when you're on the ball as a half forward, you know what I mean? So particularly when it's normally just primary ball dropping down on top of you. No, I've been impressed enough. There's a nice bite to him. Nice bite to him. And I'd say he was given that job of Markham Whelan the other day and kind of told that maybe this could be something down the line, or I want to, prove yourself as a man marker or whatever. And I thought he made a pretty decent fist at it now.
Good point there from Kyle McCarthy that Donegal O'Donnell GA team of the week for the first 2 rounds.
No, it has to be included, Shane, in my view. Yeah, 111 from play, 7 points from play the first day, and then in a really tight game scored 1-4 from play the other day. I know a genius of a fella that had him as his captain for round 2 of the Fantasy Hurling League. I was doffing my cap to him. Like that's you get some points for that.
Yeah, we would be putting Jake Morris in this, I suspect, if he hadn't gone off injured so early in that last game for Tipperary.
I think so, yeah. I think so. We'd probably be putting Pádraig Fitzgerald and Patrick Fitzgerald very, very close if they hadn't had varying fortunes maybe last night for Waterford, but they'd been flying it up until that point. And again, was it Patrick Fitzgerald you were saying that was in a kind of a leg, or was kind of wrapped up or whatever?
Yeah.
Just such a taxing time for guys at the minute. You really are walking a tightrope with certain lads. That's why you just hope Garrod O'Connor and Rogers and would say Darrell Owen, TJ Brennan, and a few more boys are able to get through Saturday and then rest up for a couple of days, and then hopefully not play the third round realistically as well, and give them a bit of time to either enjoy the Fitzgibbon success or drown their sorrows a bit.
Yeah. So who should be shooting up this list?
I would definitely have Donegal O'Donnell up a lot higher.
Yeah.
With the best will in the world, Paddy Burke. I don't know if Paddy Burke's in the 10 here realistically.
Well, let's put him in the lower reaches just at the moment. I hope he won't take it personally.
No, he definitely won't, because if he watches this show, I'd say he knows how highly thought of he is by us anyway. But again, there is another fella that is looking to peak come championship as well. He's well established. Antrim, he's one of the best players at this stage.
Yeah. Anyone else you'd move up the list? We're looking at moving up Donegal O'Dowd there. Would you be happy with fifth?
I'd swap Mark Rogers and Tommy O'Connell, being honest with you.
I just can't have it. I'm sorry, I'm going to veto that one.
Okay, Tommy O'Connell is only doing it with his county. Mark Rogers is doing it with county and college.
But his county's going well, whereas Cork have basically looked like the same old Cork, and yet here's a guy who's going completely against the grain, being combative, getting stuck in, scored an unbelievable goal in the top corner that kind of helped Cork revive their chances against Clare. Against Kilkenny, when they were absolutely dreadful in the first 25 minutes, he was stepping up like a man. So, look, I don't always, look for the veto and push that hard, but you might give it to me this time.
Yeah, well, listen, you know what I think of lads playing well when teams are playing badly, so I'll give you that.
Okay, Grode O'Connor saying typical tip pettiness. What's that about? Did I sow the boot into somebody there?
Possibly, I'm not sure. It wouldn't be like you.
Yeah, wouldn't be at all. John Crawford says Fergal O'Connor will make the 26th. Not surprised. Or surprised not in it. Would you have him in here?
Yeah, probably would. Yeah, to be honest with you, probably would. Yeah, I just think he's a real defender's defender. Yeah, I'd have him on maybe the lower reaches, I'd say, but I would have him in there.
So would ninth be acceptable to you?
Ninth is acceptable enough. Let me look at it here. Grode O'Connor, Tommy O'Connell, Mark Rogers, Hugh Lawler, Donegal O'Dowd, Adrian Mullen, Brian Hayes has been brilliant so far. Yeah, Keelan Kiley, Fergal O'Connor, Paddy Burke, and just let me think. I would have Mark Fitzgerald in the 10.
Okay. And is this your one-man campaign against Paddy Burke? Is it going to continue?
Not at all. And I'd be pushing for cornerbacks. But Mark Fitzgerald is in around the cornerback as well. Just kind of thinking, is there anybody else?
Is there anyone from Waterford we're forgetting?
Shane O'Brien is probably hard done by here.
Well, maybe if he played against Westmeath, we'd have a little bit more to go on. But I feel like there's one or two players like that they played one game. Jordan Malloy would be a perfect example. He's been going well and had to pull out injured the last day. He might be in here. Otherwise,
Jordan Malloy has a broken thumb, I believe. So it's going to kind of leave him on the back foot for playing any more league, which is unfortunate. I'm very, very impressed. Very impressed with what I've seen from him.
Yeah, and Crater says Kieran Joyce and Mark Fitzgerald have been on top form for county and college. Both deserve a spot. Would you be happy enough to put in Kieran Joyce as well? Like, he missed the game against Kilkenny the other day, so that will count against him.
Yeah, no, I'd be putting in Mark Fitzgerald because he's played everything.
Yeah, we have him in there now.
I think he's the same as Grode O'Connor. He's played nearly every minute, I think.
Yeah, he's been impressive, so he's in there. But should he be up higher?
No, I'm kind of happy enough with where he is, to be honest with you. Happy enough with where he is.
Yeah, Mouse Kavanagh, according to River Power. So if we go through that list, are you happy with the total order of it? I know you want Rogers up higher, but you're...
Well, Traumspieler here says it's far too skewed towards the big counties. Give Paddy Burke from Antrim his due. But, like, you can only go on what you've seen. Like, I saw Chris Nolan in the Fitzgibbon. He was outstanding. So was John Nolan. The bits I saw, Mouse Kavanagh was brilliant against Kerry, but you can't see everything. Plus, probably giving a little more kudos to the lads that are doing it at the higher level as well, if you get me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because they are playing against the cream and they're doing it against the cream.
Okay, well, we'll go with this as our list. So just to go over it once more, Grode O'Connor of Tipperary, number 1. This is top 10 hurlers right now, so based on form. Tommy O'Connell, Cork, Mark Rogers of Clare, Kilkenny's Hugh Lawler, Limerick's Donegal O'Dowd, and Adrian Mullen is 6th from Kilkenny, Brian Hayes, Dublin, Keelan Kiley, Offaly, 9th, Fergal O'Connor of Limerick, and 10th, Mark Fitzgerald. Overall, not bad.